Hey guys, welcome back to Altaz-Review, where we talk about all kinds of gaming news and updates. After a whole bunch of new game releases and anticipated games, we got our first look at a pretty mysterious contender. The day before was a pretty subtly advertised game that many of us have been waiting for. More than the interesting trailer, we were all curious about what the game looked like outside of trailers since there was almost no other news or updates about it. But now that it's here, or rather was, we have a lot to say even with the little time we had. So let's get right into it. The Day Before has been a long-awaited game, mostly because of the unique premise where we get a zombie survival game with classic survival elements too. The biggest change with this game is that it's an MMO as well. The Day Before is essentially a Days Gone kind of game with a multiplayer that works similar to Rust, another PvP survival game. As far as we could see in the trailer, there's a lot of details in things like weather, walking animations, and even object movement, like little cans and things flying around whenever you shoot them, or just destructible objects. Every little thing looked to be as detailed as a AAA game or at least a AA game. The idea of crafting items, gathering supplies, and surviving zombies was too good to believe. As far as the trailer shows us, there's also some great driving mechanics and there's a lot of options to repair and upgrade your vehicle. There's also some great weapon customization with some nice looking interface. It's more or less like an online version of Days Gone. But one thing we were all wondering about was the lack of information. Every trailer highlighted completely different things. The gameplay and cutscenes looked a little too detailed, and it's natural for fans to be a little skeptical. As an MMO, no one expected the game to be able to handle all the animations and rendering the way the trailers showed us. I mean, even then, the trailers didn't show us the MMO aspects as well as it could have. It showed us some great gameplay, it showed us how good the graphics are, but we didn't get a good grasp of how well the MMO and online aspect would work out. The suspicious part was how we got only a handful of trailers with pre-rendered gameplay footage and no demos. Adding to all that were the constant delays and changes to the expected release date. We wanted it to at least be a decent game, if not the same as the trailers. But the lack of information didn't help our expectations too much. Come release date, The Day Before finally made its debut as an early access title. As a game, it was definitely subpar. Bad graphics, weird movements, and several bugs. Pretty much the opposite of what the trailers showed us and what we thought was so good about it. The Day Before is a simplified version of a pretty basic format. It's mostly a kind of battle royale with a few zombies thrown around. The AI for the zombies isn't too impressive either. There's no stealth, hordes, or even sound attraction mechanics for the zombies. The trailers showed how zombie hordes would be waiting around, and with too much light or too much sound, they might get attracted to wherever you are, so you have to be careful with how you shine torches, how much sound you make, and how close you get. But in the full game, that wasn't the case at all. As soon as you're in range, zombies will track you down and attack you, and even then, there's only a few of them. It may as well be a random encounter in a low-grade battle royale game. The bugs definitely don't make things any better, with floating and ragdolling along with characters turning huge out of nowhere. Unfortunately, it's a below average experience with very little of the innovative ideas that it tried to hype up. But then we get to the lies. There's no nicer way to put it. The Day Before ended up lying about several features and details from the trailers. Vehicle repair mechanics, a lot of the UI, and even a lot of the animations just weren't present in the final game. The trailer essentially advertised all the features that didn't make it into the game. So why should anyone buy it? It's these lies that turned a subpar game into one of the worst games in history. Due to the controversial nature of The Day Before's release, it now has even lower ratings than games like Kong Skull Island and the recent Walking Dead game, which is a pretty low bar. Even after so much time in development and a fairly direct premise, the game looks like it slapped together a few common assets and mechanics, completely ignoring the kind of game they showed us in the trailers. With this kind of result, it makes you wonder how they could so confidently release pre-rendered gameplay and hope they could catch up to that kind of quality. But with the lack of quality and several lies, The Day Before had to face the natural consequences. Just a day after its early access release, The Day Before was removed from Steam, and the studio, Fantastic, shut down permanently, stating a lack of revenue from their game as the reason. At least Fantastic later announced that everyone who bought the game would get refunds after this unusual development. If nothing else, this whole situation might serve as a lesson to newer studios, and even for bigger ones, that players have certain expectations of games and how they're advertised. Hiding and manipulating information and a lackluster attempt at mimicking new fads won't be easy money. Instead, it'll probably be a recipe for disaster. Well, that's all I have to say about the day before, and that's more than any of us can say now that the game is off the shelves. There's only 2 weeks till the new year, and we're still getting some surprising news from all kinds of games, and a few interesting releases that stand out even at the end of the year. But let me know what you thought about this controversial story about the day before, and what other games have caught your eye recently. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Until then, I hope I see you in the next video.